Good day, Pete Kane here, podcast Pete, and I wanted to bring something that has come up a lot. It was actually on Growth Day with Mel Robbins, and it talked about, what's the difference between passion and purpose. So I want to give you some thoughts to ponder because I think they get mixed up. They get used in the same sentence, like something like your purpose becomes your passion. And I want to give you some thoughts to kind of ponder so you can use them in the right way because it does matter the words that you describe things because your mindset matters and the words you choose and how you use them will communicate to your brain what you're trying to the behavior you're trying to create. First off, I think passion is very closely aligned with energy. Now, let me expand on that just a tad. We were born to create, not consume. And I've looked at my journey over the last 40 years, but I look more intensely the last three because I had a stroke and it kind of changed the mindset, the trajectory, the course of my life, where I was an avid golfer, 5 days a week, runner, 20 plus peach trees. I don't do either one. Yeah, I tried to do a little golf with one hand and maybe a tad with two, and I couldn't come to grips at this moment where I was hitting the ball, say 250. Now I'm hitting half of that. I'm not hitting the ball and enjoying it like I used to. Do I love playing with other people and being outdoors and building and connecting those relationships? Absolutely. But I think we play something for the energy that it gives us. And unfortunately, or I don't know if it's unfortunate, because I think things happen in our life and we have a chance to to decide how we're going to process it, because nobody wakes up and says, well, I'm going to get a stroke and now it's going to change my life and I'm going to have to figure out how to eat, how to walk, how to talk, how to go to the bathroom. All these things are new. And if you don't accept that, those are the cards you dealt, and lean in to your new uncomfortableness, it'll zap your energy because passion and energy, I think, are the same. And Mel Robbins said the same thing. And it kind of like dawned on me, why do I have incredible energy? And I think it's a couple things. I gave up TV, didn't even subscribe to TV. I gave up social media after starting my kind of online career 10 years ago. I was always loved marketing. But then when social media came on, I focused on that. So if you're doing social media at that time, you're probably more into social media than most. And what I realized is it's a hole that you got to be careful of because the average person now watches or scrolls 2 hours of social media, over 2 hours. Now, what does that mean? It means you're consuming other people's lives. Nothing wrong with it, but it's like if you eat a candy bar, is it bad? Probably not. But if you ate candy every day, all the time, and you put that sugar in you, it's eventually going to show. Whatever happens, that's not a behavior that's going to produce good results for you. So that's where you have to be careful when something happens in your life. You sit back, not when you're in the middle of the storm, is not when you make the best decisions, but afterwards, as you're processing it, as you're thinking, what is my new life going to be like? What are the cards that were dealt me that I didn't really want? Like in poker, you get good cards, you get bad cards, but you still got to play them. So when I woke up and I was alive, that was a good thing. Now, the journey started because when you can't move your left side, you want movement bad. And movement is medicine. If you're not moving, you're stuck. Like Mel Robbins said on Growth Day that I was just listening to at the gym. She took a poll and she has, I don't know how many tens of thousands of followers, hundreds of thousands, whatever she has. She has a lot. She's written a bunch of books, but she talked about polling her community. And the poll talked about how many people are stuck. 89%. That's a high number. And when you break that down, being stuck is not moving. And I was that way many times, many times. I was frozen by the overwhelm of life. Growing up dyslexic and ADD, a weird kind of combination. But every single email, when email came about as a form of communication, I lived with the fear of somebody discovering couldn't spell. I couldn't spell two words. I mean, I couldn't spell the most basic of words. The brain just didn't process it. I didn't have the tools that you have today. And if I say the one with an A, it'll talk back to us because I use it 5-10 times during the day on how to spell words. I use it on my phone when I'm in the car, how to spell words. Because when you don't know how to spell a word, you get stuck. And when you get stuck on a thought and it doesn't flow, kind of like you get stuck. There were days I would look at my screen all day, frozen, not moving, not doing anything. Then I knew I had to get moving, and I'd say, just get in the car and go downtown. And I would drive downtown, not realizing that I had to keep moving. Being stuck doesn't do you any good. Movement is medicine in the physical world. I thank Crystal Duke for that. She's a health and fitness coach, and she worked with a lot of the seniors at Overture, where I used to live. And we would talk about the movement part. Got to keep it moving. Wonderful story about her mom, who got kind of into that sedentary, never really connected until she took her to the gym, found out where she was stuck, because it's intimidating. When you walk into a gym and you've got all these muscle people and they're working and they're doing all this and you've never been in a gym, it's kind of like what some people will tell me, walking into a strange church. And you haven't been in church for years. It's unfamiliar territory. That person that greets you, welcomes you, makes a difference. But if you don't move and do something and you get stuck, then that's not good. And when you look at what's on the screen, which is, I call it the purpose mountain. And purpose, as we look at it, the energy to climb a mountain is different stages. When you hire a guide to climb Mount Everest, and you do it as a team, so look at that, guide, team. That's what we talk about. Being bold, make a difference, and having fun. We do podcasting, publishing, and building thriving communities because we're better in a community. We're better moving. We're better with a purpose. Now, purpose is not like, oh, that's my purpose is to whatever it is. Your purpose breaks down into base camps. If you're climbing Mount Everest, your first purpose is I need that energy to get to the first base camp. When I get to the first base camp, you evaluate the situation. Your guide tells you the weather, the different weather patterns coming in, and then he adjusts the way you go up that mountain. But you're not going to the top. You're going to the second base camp. So your passion can be, how do I show up with the right energy to get to the base camp? And on purpose, you're showing up every single day. And when you start creating, and that's where I wanted to get back to the reason why I think I have incredible passion / energy, because I create. I don't consume. I don't watch TV. Like the average is 4 hours a day. That's consuming. When I hear people that watch TV all day, it's going to affect you because it's not active learning. You're just sitting there. Is TV okay? Yes, in moderation. Everything in moderation. But if you I was talking to a friend. We were talking about being so dialed in to a political kind of win that you watch the first show, The Five, then you watch the second show, Bret Baier, then you watch the third show, Laura Ingraham, then the fourth show, Sean Hannity. And you can see I'm bent probably more on the conservative side than the other side. But what he said was he realized it was playing games with his mind because they say the same thing over and over and again. They just say it in a different way because the news is the news, and the news is getting your attention. So does positive news make headlines? No. Negative does. So if you're consuming, whether you're on the left or right, doesn't matter, you're going to consume what you want to validate. So if you're a left thinker, you'll probably be consuming CNN and MSNBC and other shows that support all that. So it's just validating in your mind the way you believe. But I challenge you to get to know people. Because when you get to know people, you see a different picture. Rather than just consume everything about how you believe, go and talk to people. Maybe, or think differently. Why do you think that way? What makes you make a comment like that in a curious manner with a loving heart? Because the more you understand about people, the more you can connect with them. That's where, when John and I were talking yesterday, we've fallen in to a busyness, distractive, busy texting, not making those conversations with people. So there's no energy in texting. Is it okay sometimes? Yes, absolutely. There's a need for it. But if that's your form of communication, like Larry King said when I was listening to him the last night and this morning, is we've lost the art of conversation because, and he was talking in a training program, the Vine, but look at TikTok, same thing as Vine, but maybe a lot more robust. People's attention span is short. So we're trying to cram all this stuff, but we're neglecting our energy, which is our passion. And our passion comes from creating. That's why, if you think, instead of 4 hours of consuming, take half that time. Start creating whatever it is. Now, I create content. I do podcasting. I learned so much from each podcast because you're able to build that relationship on the podcast, and it gives you an understanding of a person's belief system, journey, story. So although that's consuming their story, it's building a relationship, it's creating new relationships. So I get pumped every time I'm on a podcast because I'm learning from my guest. And then I ponder afterwards. I ponder what I learned and I journal. You'll see in the background it says journaling on purpose. And I never journaled until 3 years ago. I never journaled consistently, let me say. And when I mean consistently, when I was in dark times like serious depression, you would hear, oh, just journal what you're grateful for. Well, you can't just do it one time and think, oh man, it's going to turn the world around for you. It's that consistency. Not that I was at the time. And that was like, I wouldn't even let people read my journal because I was spelling words so bad. It was before you could do it like it is now with Amazon's form of and iPhone Siri and all that. So it's different now. It's a lot easier for me to be journaling. And when I come to a word that I get stuck on, and stuck is stuck. Movement is medicine. And if you're flowing because you're now moving, you're showing up for a meeting with a purpose of being present, intentional, and being aware of your surroundings, thinking through. When you show up, that meeting, it shouldn't be the first time you're showing up for that meeting. What I mean by your self-talk. You have a meeting, you visualize what you got for the day. How are you going to show up for that podcast? How are you going to show up for that meeting? How are you going to show up when whatever you're doing? If you do it intentionally on purpose, there's a different energy level. And that energy level transfers into passion. Passion is energy, and you can generate it because you're like a generator. And if you think of yourself as a generator, that you give it off, then you have to put it in to generate it. So showing up on purpose becomes your energy, your passion. Your passion, just say energy. How you show up. Now, to keep your energy high, you need to be able to think, create, whatever. Instead of sitting there watching TV on an evening, create something, do something, whatever it is. You like to work with your hands? I was talking to Jeremiah. No, hold on. No, what Jeremiah? It was, oh, geez. That's one thing that my stroke took out is short-term memory. So I'm going to think of it just a sec because I'm picturing it. Dang, it begins with a J. Gosh, I'll think of it just a second. Well, anyway, we were talking about that creating with your hands. He's in a apprenticeship as an electrician, but he talked about he loves to create, to use his hands. So when he's there, he's creating using his hands, and he really is enjoying that part of it because he's been in a different role, but he's always been a creator. Um, Gosh, I want to say Jeremiah, but it's not. Tobias, there it is. Tobias died. Sorry about that, buddy. My friend, wonderful person, Tobias. Creating, create. Think, how do you create a day? You show up with intention, connect, learn, journal. I always share when I can. I think, I journal, I plan, and I implement. I think, I journal, I plan, and I implement. Thinking has been minimized as we get busy. We jump into our day, check our emails, other people's priorities, and we don't think about our day. How do I want to show up for that first meeting, that first podcast, that first talk, that first, whatever it is during the day? How are you going to show up for it? I meditate and I think through my day, thinking, okay, this morning I have a podcast at 11 with Xana Wolfgang, who runs the Funny Farm in Brooks, Georgia. Absolutely the most incredible person. She's spoken at our live event, and I met her at McKenna Farms when I took my grandkids, my granddaughters, to the big annual event, and she brought all her packas, long-haired cows, all kinds of animals, chickens, goats, all kinds, ones you would normally see. And if you could watch my grandkids and other kids connect with, I remember this little boy, couldn't have been more than maybe 5 or 6. He had that chicken in his hand, and he was carrying that chicken like a loaf of bread. I mean, the chicken was going like, "Hey, put me down. Hey, softly, put me down softly." And his smile was from ear to ear. And probably, don't know, it was the first time he had a chance to grab a chicken and walk with a chicken. And that's what she does to make those moments. And I called her afterwards, and she's been on my podcast. And, she was at our live event, so I know, I've listened to her story, and I understand her journey more than most because I have kind of gotten a chance to see the impact she's making on people because she has that purpose. She has that energy. I mean, getting up at, I think she said 4:30, whatever it was early. I mean, chickens got to get up, the sunrise, and you better be out there. So she's every day connecting with her Funny Farm. I think I forget what she called them, but she's connecting with her, different people. They all have personalities. It's crazy when you really connect with something, you go deeper in thought, in purpose, in passion, just makes life so much better. So when we look at passion, keep it separate from purpose, because your passion is that energy you're generating. Are you passionate about creating? Always think create versus consume. We are more bent because of the numbers. They don't lie. 4 hours of TV, that's consumption. Consumption. You don't need to consume other people's life. You need to create your life. So by creating your life, the passion comes. So I'm going to take this off. We talk about the magic is in you and anything is possible. What we do is create digital assets. Now, podcasting is a digital asset. A book is a digital asset. Creating. We create online courses, creating versus consuming them. Now, I consume stuff, but I consume it with a purpose of what am I getting out of it? How can I apply it to my creative mode? Because when you find yourself stuck, it's probably because a couple things. We get mental fatigue by, let's just say we're consuming video games and we do it till 2 a.m. We got to work the next day. We wake up tired. We're fatigued because we didn't get the rest. Then we make mistakes at work because we didn't get the proper energy from our sleep. So think of those kind of things, that you watch TV till 2 a.m. Is TV bad? No. But 4 hours a day might be too much, because too much consumption is going to create a stuck mode because you're sitting there just consuming somebody else's life. Create your life. Your life. The magic is in you and anything is possible. It starts with creating. Create authentic relationships. It's more so than the hi, how you doing? Oh, I'm great. How's your heart? What you working on this week? What are you excited about? Ask people more in-depth questions about their life, because we can get on autopilot with the old, oh, I'm great. I'm good. Okay. What's so good about what you're doing right now that you could share with me? Oh, maybe that's the question we need to ponder, to ask. Create those authentic relationships by going a little deeper, by showing up with the purpose of learning more about people. And that's where you build authentic relationships. When you go deeper into the conversation, are you so busy you can't get those authentic relationships? A lot of us are. A lot of us. So you have to be intentional about creating. Now, as I wind down, I'm a certified high performance coach. What does that mean? I'm trained by the best in the industry, Brendon Burchard. And I'm going to give you a little opportunity. Where I get my content is from Growth Day. I've known about Growth Day for 11 months and I've had it for 11 months. It's been my source of energy and passion because I can learn and then apply. Learn and apply to create. And it's given an incredible amount of energy by being intentional about learning, be intentional about improving my skills, and intentional about creating a podcast, creating a course, creating. We go through 12 weeks. I only coach a one-on-one person because I only have 4. I only do it for 12 weeks. Here's why. I want you to create a mindset that it's about you and anything's possible. Now, can you do other things after that? Yes, because it's a journey of life. And journey of life means growing. So when I say Growth Day, 7 days, try it for free, we go to Costco and we don't buy things until sometimes we sample them. That's why you have sample tables there, because we want to see if that's something we like. And to try Growth Day, challenge you. Try it for 7 days. And if you're thinking, you know what, I've done that before, that's a fixed mindset. That's going to get you in trouble because that belief system will get you down. Say, well, what is possible by having a person talk about the 5 to thrive? Gives you a daily framework, a daily thought. And then there's a video that's related to it. Then there's 2 thought-provoking questions that get you thinking. The 5 to thrive is like your fuel to your rocket for the day. You get that and then you score yourself. You have prepared yourself for an incredible day. And that's where it's meant so much to me, is it's given me that passion / energy because I am learning and then I'm creating. So if you want to try for 7 days, go to petekane.me/growth day. Then email us support@petekane.me and I'll send you my free course, Mindset, Goals, and Habits. But if you're like stuck, you're struggling, and you think it's time that you activate a new you, because the magic is in you and anything's possible. Look in the mirror and say, is this the time? And if it is, I'm going to offer you a strategy session where I'm going to spend 1 hour with you to really activate you and see if there's a fit. Maybe there is. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe the timing's not right, but maybe it is. Because we're going to go through first high performance focus points, or focal points, clarity, the second week, energy / passion, and clarity. If I can talk about that for a second, journaling has given me clarity. I journal every single day, usually several times during the day. That's how I get my thoughts clear and I get out of here, because we got so much going on up there. Get it on paper, see it on paper, write it out. Courage is for week 4. Do we need to be more bold? Do we need to work on that courage muscle? You know what the opposite of courage is? Fear. And if we let fear grow, it's going to grow. If we feed our fear, fear grows. If we feed our courage and our faith, that muscle grows. So when we go through that courage session, that's when we identify those fears that are holding you back, that you've been feeding, and we talk about the courage muscle that we got to put some time into. We got to exercise that muscle. Productivity is so important today because you have 24 hours, I have 24 hours. How I use my 24 hours, if you watched my schedule, it would probably wear you out, because I'm up at 3:30, in bed by 8, and my day is full of creating. And I love it. I love it because I'm creating and I have it planned out. Remember, think, journal, plan, implement. Think, journal, plan, implement. As opposed to check my emails, other people's priorities, jump out of bed, take a shower, and just head to work. Not thinking about your day, not self-talking through, not meditating. Meditating in prayer can be very beneficial for us if we exercise that muscle. Because I used to try to get one more thing done. That was the active brain of ADD. One more thing. Or setting a schedule of 15 things and only getting 3, and not thinking what was the one thing in that 15 that I needed to get done. So if that gets done, the rest can wait. So if you think in a productivity mindset, what's the one thing that you can focus on? And once you get that done as early as you can, you get momentum. And when you get momentum, you get flow. When you get flow, you get energy. When you get energy, the purpose that you're doing things changes. You start growing that vision, growing that purpose. Your goals get bigger. But if we don't exercise that part of it, like we do as a kid, when you ask somebody young about what they want to do, what they want to be, they don't have the frame that we have as adults because they haven't gotten down to where they've been beat down. That's why it's so important to be committed, to be intentional about personal development, to take 7 days. What do you have to lose but the possibility of you discovering a better you, showing up with purpose, having more passion because you're learning and you're creating, learning and create. So you can go to pkane.me/growth day. And then maybe it's a strategy session on you. What do you, when you look into that 6th week, we talk about influence. AI is not going to give a person more influence. Now, they're going to be more productive, and you should be using AI. You should be using AI to get the stuff that's repetitious, that'll help you move faster, but your influence and your leadership will be the difference in your future. So measuring your influence is so critical in today's age because it's changing quickly. Then we get into week 7, physiology, your physiology, your energy mastery, psychology, your mindset mastery, productivity mastery, persuasion mastery, purpose mastery, and then a commitment to high performance. We put you through a 12-week course, and we do this because we're looking for transformation, because the magic is in you. We put you through intentionally building a community around you using what we call the key strategic partners. Now, if you're interested, that is a 12-week journey of building key strategic partners around you, building your team intentionally. This is setting you up because it's so important. Let me see if I can get to it. So important that we recognize that the times have changed. They've changed dramatically. I mean, dramatically. And if we're not aware of how these things have changed and we're still operating like we've always operated, well, then the world's going to pass you by because we're in the middle of massive change in everything. So being a key person of influence, as I'm going to put up on the screen, learning to pitch briefly. What do we say? Somebody says, Pete, what do you do? We create leads, we generate cash flow, and we build thriving communities. That's it. 10 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever that was. And if somebody doesn't ask me anything more, I don't tell them. But we intentionally have a brief but curious pitch. Do you know how people struggle with creating leads and cash flow? And if they say yes, we do it through podcasting, publishing, and building thriving communities. Now, they say nothing more, I don't say anything more. I might ask them about, how do you generate leads? What have you found to be successful? What has been your key to your growth in your company. Now, if they say word of mouth, you got to do it a little differently because word of mouth is your profile online. That's why we teach you 7-11-4. 7 hours. 7 hours. Oops, there. It's what people search you online. And if they don't see anything after they meet you, because leads do change lives. The 7 is from a gentleman by the name of Robin Dunbar. The new world is online. And people have to get to know you, to like you, and trust you. They do it by consuming your content. So if your podcast is out there and you built your profile and you have a book and they can read your book and they want to know more, there's an opportunity to know more. They do it through buying signals. This is made famous and popular by the 0 moment of truth. If somebody's not raising their hand saying, tell me more, don't tell them more because they're not interested. If somebody is not asking for more, tell me more about leads. Tell me more about your cash flow strategy. What do you mean by publishing? What do you publish? If they're not doing that, they're not interested. And you don't want to throw up on them just because you're passionate about what you're doing. You have incredible energy. Well, your passion is your passion. Everybody has an energy, a passion, but don't expect everybody to be so excited about your business because it may not solve their problem. So when you are putting yourself out there and people are giving buying signals and they see you on 4 different platforms, a magazine, that's what the 12-week transformation is. They read your book. They get a couple hours of who you are. They listen to your podcast. They take an assessment. All these things are intended to take people through a journey. Like Daniel Priestley says, who wrote the book, Key Person of Influence, which I recommend you get so you can understand a strategy that's long-term. Takes people what they have seen 5 months. So can somebody do it in one day? Yeah, they can binge you like a Netflix. They could read your book in one day. They could listen to 10 podcasts in one day. And that can make up that 7 hours. Then they're doing things like taking an assessment. They're doing things to go to your workshop, attend your webinar. They're showing you signs, buying signs. And when they're showing buying signs, they're showing interest in you. And that's what you want to do is people that are interested in you, not people that you're trying to just spam with a message you haven't thought about. You haven't intentionally put together your profile. Because remember what we said is, hold on. Yeah, oops. Oh, well, while I'm on this, people buy from people. They don't buy from companies. They buy from people. And you are the magic, and anything is possible. But when you look at the product, we have a product for you. And I will give it to you. It's peteking.me/masterclass. That's our product, our ecosystem for you. And if you want, go sign up for a strategy session. Are you stuck in your business? Do you need a different strategy? Do you want to know what high performance coaching can do for you? The only way you can do it is to take a strategy session. First, if you've never been on my podcast, and let me see. Schedule a podcast. Come on my podcast. Let me get to know you. Take an assessment so I can be better prepared for you to highlight and shine on you. And why do we do this? If you don't sample something, if you live in fear, like I've had a lot of people say, that podcast is not for me. Oh, it is? Not for you? Why? I just never done it before. Code for I'm scared. I haven't done something. If you're going to let your fear hold you back, it's going to hold you back in other things too, because you got to lean in to being uncomfortable. The first time you rode a bike, were you good at it? No, you fell down, you skinned your knees. Did you say, bike's not for me? Never going to learn how to ride that bike. I just didn't get it on the first time. You know how that sounds. You got back on it and you started riding again. You fell off again and you got back on there and you kept riding until you got it down. Podcast can be a tremendous benefit to you because you are the magic, not your company. So many people will advertise their company. People can't connect with a company. They connect with people. People buy from people. So when you think about this message, it's about you. The magic is in you and anything's possible. So if you want to be on my podcast, definitely jump on it. If you love to have you on, love to feature you, love to share your story with our community, connect you with our community, because we connect people too with people, because it's about relationships. And maybe there's people I need to introduce you to. Well, come on our podcast, connect with us. We do so many things: our virtual summit, our live events, our webinar, our workshop, our Wednesday Connect, where we globally connect you to a community across the globe. Maybe you have your business and you're ready to go global. And if you're ready to go global, that's because you're digital. You got to think digital now. Think globally. I mean, you can act locally, but think globally, because this can be seen by somebody halfway across the world. That was never the case until we moved into the digital world. And that revolution is happening now. So the journey up Mount Everest has 4 base camps, just metaphorical 4 base camps. They have base camps. I don't know if it's 4, but you don't do it by yourself. If you do it by yourself, you're risking your life. And you don't want to do that. You want to hire a guide. And maybe that guide is a high performance coach. Oops, no, wrong one. There it is. There it is. PeteKane.me SS. Book it. Book it. I challenge you. Book it. And it's tremendous value. We give a donation for each time somebody does a strategy session to inspire entrepreneurs around the world, because we are a global business and we want to think globally and we want to help businesses around the globe. And that's so jump on our podcast, then do a strategy session with us. See if you're ready to make that journey with somebody who's going to guide you up the mountain. We'll get to the first base camp, then the second, then the third, then the fourth. And eventually we're going to get to a higher level, because the air is thinner at the top. The road less traveled is less people at the top than at the bottom of the mountain, because just that's the way it works. And if you like that view from the top, come join us. Get a strategy session. Get it today. I don't do unlimited strategy session. I only have 4 people that I coach every 12 weeks. Different. I basically kick you out of the nest. Now, it's a soft landing. It's other things that'll keep you growing, keep you being challenged, keep you building your business, because the magic is in you and anything is possible. So as we wind down, take advantage of our masterclass. That'll give you our product, our ecosystem, why we can scale businesses, because it's all about you. You are the magic. The magic is in you. You have to learn your pitch. You got to build your profile online. You got to have a product. You got to make a good presentation that moves people through the process, and then partnerships. It's all collaboration. Not all, but it is collaboration. So practice 7-11-4, 7 hours of content, 11 buying signals in 4 different platforms. If you do that, you are moving up the mountain. And if you're moving up the mountain, you're really going to change lives, because leads change lives. Understanding how you can use a key person of influence, or you are the magic, will allow you to practice Robin Dunbar's 7 hours. I want to thank Daniel Priestley, who wrote the book Key Person of Influence and allowed us to be able to climb this mountain. I tell you, the mountain will give you some buying signals, but be on that mountain. Got to climb, got to move, got to keep going. Movement is medicine, and your movement can be done with a book. Order the book, Key Person of Influence. Just go on Amazon, and order it. Book a podcast with me. Let's shine on your story. Taking a short assessment that gives me a better idea of who you are, how I can make your podcast the best possible. And then the magazine, that journey, the 12-week transformation that we put you through on our one-on-one coaching, and in our transformation, it's a 12-week journey. First, we get you to establish your key strategic partner team. Then we put your team together in a magazine. Stories from the podcast become the stories in a magazine. You have an asset with your team around you. You're on the cover. Your team is in the magazine. Each person is providing help and support for each other. That's where we say thriving communities. So go get on a strategy session, try Growth Day, and our masterclass is my gift to you. And if you feel this is something that you feel has been beneficial, and you know of some people that you would like to put this challenging message, passion and purpose, knowing the difference between the two can help you grow your business, and it can help others. I appreciate if you share this with people you think would be open to the message. All right. Thank you so much. Be bold, make a difference, and have fun. And you are the